Hey boo, if you often feel like you have to miss out on golden opportunities in order to level up your manifesting because of not having the money to opt into those opportunities, then you will want to watch till the end. This video is about why you don't really need what you keep thinking you need to be a better manifester. Now, if that lands even a little, you'll want to stick around, and I love if you would give this video a like and subscribe. So a viral coach on YouTube did a post about their upcoming masterclass, and you know, where you get your name on the wait list, and then they gave the price, and it's in the 4-figure range. So that's like in the low thousands, okay? And it's low 4 figures, but it is 4 figures nonetheless. So in in US dollars, that's a couple of grand. And one commenter goes, hey, can you do a free version for people who don't have the money? And several people on that thread replied, hey, you can find free teachings in this coach's recent videos, and they have a book out, so there's plenty out there. But you just won't get that extra one-on-one mentoring or maybe hot seat coaching that you would get with actually investing in their masterclass. Which brings me to the key point. Should they do a free or a very low ticket version? Now, normally this is not something that you wrestle with, but for a lot of people, this will be a sticking point. And is it wrong to want a free version? You might be thinking, well, what's wrong with wanting a free version? Because there are so many people who are now going to be excluded, even if they really, really want to do this event, this masterclass, but they haven't got the money. But listen up. On the surface, yeah, it's the way many people are going to feel if they can't immediately reach into their wallet and pull out their plastic and jump on, right? But that kind of wanting, that feeling of being on the outside looking in, that your status financially has to be accommodated with a free version. And it's not that there isn't plenty of free stuff. I mean, right here on my channel, I have, I don't know, it's like close to 400 pieces of free content. But that kind of wanting is still coming from lack. And it's like saying, that's always going to be where I'm at. I'm always going to be the person who needs that free version. And you got to listen up here. It's really a case of IYKYK. If you know, you know. Another way is that ancient Hinduism puts it, to the one who understands, to the one who knows, no explanation is necessary. To one who does not know or will not understand, no explanation is possible. In other words, what we now call, if you know, you know. IYKYK. You cannot see the situation from a place of financial ease if all you can see from is a place of lack. And source, universe, higher mind, God will only support what predominates in your state as your state. Your self-concept, your ego, or your consciousness. As within, so without. This is what's going to manifest. Now, I can also tell you that whether you would be someone who might attend this event or not, you already have everything you need to manifest perfectly, because you're already manifesting perfectly. It's just that you see it as flawed, as imperfect, but you are already getting the perfect manifestation of what you imagine about yourself, about the identity that you are imagining from. And yes, it's nice to be able to get extra attention. I mean, I know that's how my private clients feel. They get extra attention, they get my time. And in fact, I have a package running that offers 2 one-on-one video calls and unlimited texting for the duration of the package. And if that's something that would interest you and that you do want to do and that you'd be serious about doing, put package in the comments and I will get back to you with the details. So, but the point is here. You cannot come from a place of financial ease if all you are seeing from is lack. And if you feel like that person who wanted the freebie version of that coach's masterclass, I hear you, I feel you. There was a time I would have said the same. And being an empath and an intuitive coach, I really feel where you're coming from, because the suckiness of self-exclusion is what I'm feeling. That suckiness of, well, I'm out of it again. And again, this harks back to a series I was doing on how we tend to lock ourselves out of our desire and our manifestation. And I did that a number of months back. And it is self-exclusion. The event or the coach is not deliberately excluding you or anyone. That when that happens, that's your ego thinking it's keeping you safe, doing its job, and keeping you safe by keeping you stuck. But let's look a bit deeper. And I feel what you are likely seeing from is being on the outside looking in. And when that happens, that is showing that you are definitely coming from a place of lack. But remember, as within, so without. So if your inner state, your inner identity, your inner feeling is always one of being behind the 8 ball, or struggling with money, or whatever you want to call it, or too many bills and not enough cash, however that is going to be your predominant experience. There is no other way for it to be. It's going to have to be, because that's what, you may not like the way that sounds, but that is what is going to come back to you. Not that you can't suddenly, by chance you bump into somebody and, they offer you money, somebody you know and haven't seen in a long time, but they're going to notice that you're coming from that place of not having. And this is the gap, which is between where you are and where you want to be. This is what you are imagining. And the truth is, there is no gap between where you are and where you want to be. There's no gap. Everything is whole. Everything is now, and everything is perfect. This is perfect, that is perfect. If the perfect is taken away from the perfect, what remains is perfect. The perfect remains. And that's an ancient Hindu prayer that understands the nature of the perfect in you, that is you, that manifests perfectly. It doesn't get any more perfect than that. So it's the imagined gap between where you are and where you want to be. But remember, what you receive, let me say this clearly here, you receive what you perceive. You receive what you perceive. Because if you are imagining everything is always difficult for you, it's going to continue to be difficult. If you are imagining that you are struggling. But there is that wonderful Neville Goddard practice called Isn't It Wonderful, which projects to an imagined future time, a future point, and you could call it a future point on the now, because everything is now. Time is an illusory quality, and it's basically saying, I remember when money was a struggle for me. You're at another point on now, looking back to an imagined past and saying, I remember when that experience in my life was always a struggle financially to have to make it to the end of the month. And you can play with that and see how that changes, because you are now feeling that money is available to you all the time. There's no resistance to the influx of money or the overflow or the abundance of money that is in your life, that has brought you comfort and ease and simplicity in your in your life and your finances, that has leveled you up. It's simply leveled you up, and it's become easy and even thrilling or exciting and fun instead of fearful and depressing and sucky. It's not there. That suckiness isn't there anymore. So one of the things that happens when we're in that position with something like that 4-figure masterclass, we feel separated, we feel isolated, we feel alienated, we feel disconnected, because that is the predominant state we're coming from. And one way to shift that very quickly is, instead of feeling separate, and there may be some resistance here, okay? I understand if there is. Instead of feeling separate, feeling all-inclusive. Or, as you might say in New Age terms, instead of feeling alone, you are feeling all is one. You are feeling the oneness. And you feel inclusive by allowing yourself to feel happy for anyone who is doing better than you are, for anyone who receives an unexpected stroke of luck, unexpected financial blessing, unexpected could be they got a promotion, they got a raise and they weren't maybe expecting, or they got a bonus they weren't expecting. And when you are able to feel that happiness for someone else's blessing, that is what the Buddhists call the practice of mudita. And mudita translates as spontaneous joy for another person's good fortune. So you are spontaneously feeling, it might be like when one of your besties suddenly tells you they're going to get married, you're excited for them, or they're going to have a baby, and you're excited. It comes up spontaneously. Oh, wow, that's so great. I'm so excited for you. This is wonderful news. And you have that wonderful bubbly feeling about it. Well, it's the same thing. This is very similar in feeling to that. It is that. And feeling happy, say, for that viral coach who is being comfortable and confident in asking that sum of money, those 4 figures, that fee for the masterclass, without batting an eye. Because a lot of coaches, as they start leveling up, they have to come from a place, we do find this in ourselves, of having been resistant to charging more money, asking more money. Because it's like, how can I do that? They're kind of worrying about how will it be perceived, which can come from old, very ancient even feelings that we are still carrying deep within us, in our nervous system and our cellular matrix, that are just there. And that even though we're making the gesture of seeming confident, inwardly it's that sort of cringe feeling. And that's, this person has overcome the cringe feeling and is comfortable and confident to put it out there. And it's feeling happy for those viewers who are putting their names on the wait list, who are excited and feeling comfortable and confident in attending and paying for and attending this event, and feeling happy for all those who will attend. And even if you don't, you are feeling happy for those who get to attend. You can also use, and this is an extremely effective, also like remembering when things were sucky with money and now they're not, and money is fun and money is easy and money is joyful and manageable and abundant. This is another technique that Neville taught, and that was called imagining lovingly. This is similar to mudita. It's imagining lovingly for another person, and imagining lovingly for that coach. Imagining lovingly for the people who will attend their masterclass. By doing that, or whatever it is that you feel, I'm just using that as an example, but I'm sure that you have other examples in your own experience that have come up for you, where you might have felt disconnected, or I want to say, it could be a slight feeling of jealousy. It could be a big feeling of jealousy, or it could be a feeling of disappointment, or whatever seemingly negative feelings are coming through. But when you can practice imagining lovingly, congratulating people who attended, or on any kind of good fortune that they have, and imagining them having it, especially when you know certain people who might be struggling, to be able to offer that, like mudita, it is something that definitely will uplift you and them. And Neville called that raising another person's cross. And this is exactly it. It's lifting their burden. In imagination can manifest it perfectly for them in their own experience and yours. It's a two-way street here. And if you want to know the sneakiest part, being happy for someone else's good fortune is actually a form of non-attachment. And this is one of the big things that's, when I was doing some videos recently about the difficulty of feeling detached from the outcome of what you are imagining having, some of you commented how difficult that is. And this is the key. It can feel difficult to not keep wrapping your mind and get all twisted up in, is it here yet? And why do I always have such difficulty with this? And all these, why am I still connected to this and can't let it go and can't put it out of my mind? Whereas many people who imagine having something and then literally forget it and let it go, they get it. They get what they were desiring. They manifested it. And it's form of non-attachment to be happy for someone else It's like they got the promotion. You were fine with whether you were promoted or not promoted. They want to pick 6. You're okay whether or not you won or even played the lotto that week. But it's not in a sour grapesy attitude. It's not that, oh, I didn't want that silly promotion anyway, or I didn't want that. I didn't really care if they gave me that. You know, that kind of sour grapes feeling that shows that you really did care, but you're just, brushing it off. I'm sure you've seen people respond that way because it is a normal tendency of the ego to do that. And it's not that. It's in an authentic state of neutralness. I don't know if that's a word, but neutralness, even-mindedness, steadiness, inner steadiness, a state of knowing your own good fortune is waiting on you right now. And this attitude opens the door for you to receive many kinds of unexpected opportunities, many kinds of blessings, many kinds of abundance. And when you can be in that place that's spontaneously happy for another, but detached from having it yourself, you releasing yourself from that prison of lack that has been your knee-jerk reaction to everything in the past. So more than being happy for somebody else, you are rising, my dear, to embody happiness itself. The frequency of happiness doesn't require a reason even to be happy. It doesn't need an occasion or an event. It is self-sustaining. It is because it simply is. Well, it's I am that I am. I am happiness. It's not just I'm happy, it's happiness itself. And explore that embodiment of happiness beyond the simple feeling of happiness, which is wonderful in itself, but actually embodying happiness, embodying that even-minded detachment as you maintain the feeling and being of happiness. Whether you can handle it, for an hour, 10 minutes, maybe a day, maybe a morning, whatever is working for you, and watching that gradually expand. Just feeling that happiness for another person. So let me know in the comments below how that goes for you. And notice too, when you do that, notice when, and let me know when it stopped being sucky. Love you, boo. See you next time.